Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, we're gonna jump one more time. When the chorus hits, I want everyone to jump. If you can't jump, I want to throw your arms up. Throw your saying signs around like this. The chorus is gonna come. I want everyone to jump, everyone to move around together, because we're doing this together. Get ready. It's coming. Are you ready? Here it goes. Ready? 1, 2, ready. Woo! 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 Thank you. That's beautiful. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Wow, this is incredible. This is beautiful. How's it going, Vancouver? Woo! My friends, I'm truly honored to be a part of this. We'll talk about LNG real quick. Sir, brother, I don't know where you are, but I'm gonna talk to you real quick. You have a couple moments? No, it's okay. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, you're so good. We'll give you a couple of minutes, brother. Just tell us what you think. You're worried about the pipelines, yes? And you're worried about LNG? I hear you. And is there anything else you wanted to add? Okay. Brother's really frustrated. He's frustrated about the future. You're frustrated. I understand that you're frustrated about the future of our planet, like so many young people. I want you to know this, that I believe in a future where we're not using any fossil fuel for energy. And that's what we've got to do. That's the future that we want to build together. We'll talk about that in the speech, though. But yes, thank you. And people get frustrated. It's okay. We love everybody. We get love for all folks. So before I go any further, I just want to acknowledge we had some incredible speakers that shared their ideas with you, that spoke to you. I want to just give a collective acknowledgement, and let's show some love to all those powerful speakers, Indigenous leaders. We heard from Libby Davies, an incredible, powerful voice. We heard from the Grand Chief and Joan. Kilsalem, a powerful voice for the people of this land here. Simca, who spoke so powerfully as well. Thank you, Simca. And friends, I want you to know something, that I think it's incredibly powerful to acknowledge the land that we're gathered on. I think it's so important for us to do that. But I also think when we acknowledge the territories that we're gathered on, we've got to do a couple extra things on top of that. We also have to acknowledge, while we acknowledge the territories, the historic injustice that the first people of this land have faced here as a result of colonialism. We also have to acknowledge the ongoing injustice that Indigenous people continue to face. And I think we need to acknowledge collectively that all of us together are going to be part of the solution to remedy those injustices once and for all. Friends, we're just a couple days away from a pretty historic election. It's been a wild ride. And I've got a chance to speak with a lot of Canadians. And the reason why this campaign for me has been such an amazing journey and why I've enjoyed it so much, because it's been about the people that we represent. It's been about Canadians and their stories. It's been about First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. It's been about Indigenous people. It's been about young people. It's been about all people and their stories. And that's what makes me really proud to be a part of this campaign. And that's why I'm so thankful that you're all here. So I know folks waited in the rain for a long time to be here. I know you all are fighting so hard in your communities. I know each of you has stories that you felt have been ignored and been neglected. I want you to know that I see you, I hear you, and I'm fighting for you. And seriously, I really want to thank you, just not just for just being here today, but for being a part of this beautiful journey and this incredible movement, because there's so many people counting on us across this country. I want to talk about some of those people. We know that there's lots of folks that, we live in a beautiful country, but there's a lot of challenges that we face. We spoke to some people earlier today, young people that are afraid of never being able to have a place to call home. They're afraid of They actually put it to me this way. I was going to say they're afraid of never being able to own a home, but they've said that they don't even think that's a dream anymore. That's a fantasy. That's not even something they can attain. And it's sad to hear that. One of the women I spoke to said she doesn't see herself in the future of housing in Canada. And that's really what it is. People don't see themselves reflected because they can't. Buying a house is out of the question. People can't even find a place to rent, right? And for a lot of people, if they find a place to rent, they're not sure if they're going to be able to keep it because they might get rent evicted or they might not be able to afford a rent increase. So they're afraid if they can even stay in their rental home. And it makes people feel really afraid of the future. It makes them feel insecure and pretty precarious. And that's something that's going on across Canada, not just here in the Lower Mainland, but across Canada. I've heard this story of so many people that can't find housing. I've met so many people in this beautiful country that can't get the health care that they need. When you need, yes, where health care is not there for families when they need it. People are worried. I've met folks that have felt the impacts of consecutive conservative and liberal governments that have cut health care so that provinces are seeing the healthcare system being starved. And we're seeing a lot of people not able to afford the medication they need. I met a young woman who got late onset type 1 diabetes. Was healthy her whole life, didn't imagine ever needing healthcare, was fit, was healthy, was strong. And then, one of these things that just happens. You don't ever predict that you're going to get sick, and she got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. She's got a good job, some benefits, but it doesn't cover all of her needs, and she spends thousands of dollars just to stay alive on medication, life-saving medication. And that's one of her biggest costs and one of her biggest fears is if she can be able to afford to stay healthy, to stay alive. And I feel like in a country as rich as ours, should she be worrying about that? No! I don't think so. It is actually really, it's really nonsensical that someone would be able to get to a doctor and find out what's wrong with them and find out what they need to do, but be unable to pay for the medication they need to stay well. It just doesn't make any sense, right? And I met with a lot of young people. I see a lot of young people in the crowd today. I'm always so inspired by the passion and the power and the energy of young people. But what I'm really saddened by these days is when I look in the eyes of young people, instead of that passion and excitement, they're also often filled with despair because they're worried about the future of our planet. And we saw thousands, in fact, hundreds and thousands of young people take it to the streets just earlier in this election campaign, demanding action, saying how dare politicians ignore the crisis that we're faced with? How dare they not take action now?
How dare they?
It's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. He's not wrong. You're not wrong. You know, with all these worries, the cost of living going up, the fear of the climate crisis, the worry of not being able to have a home, with all these worries, I look at the choices in front of Canadians in this election. We've got on one side, we've got liberals that we got liberals who are telling people to settle for less. They're telling you to vote out of fear. They've let you down. They've let people down. They failed to deliver on what people need. And they're saying, now vote for us again anyways. No. And when we think about what Mr. Trudeau has done, he's gotten to this position now, not by chance. We're not in this position now by chance. There's choices that Mr. Trudeau has made. I won't go into all the choices, but there's clear choices he's made to help out those at the very top, the rich and powerful mega corporations. He's chosen to make their life easier, and it's made people's life harder. We talked about healthcare. In 2015, Mr. Trudeau promised to lower the cost of medication. A simple change in the list of countries that we use to set our medication prices would have dropped the cost of medication significantly. It wouldn't have cost us $1. It's just changing a list of countries. And you know, 4 years went by, and Mr. Trudeau and the Liberal government didn't do it.
He's a liar!
Well, we're wondering why that happened. Well, it's more than that. He did it on purpose. And I'll tell you what he did. I'll tell you what he did. In 4 years, he didn't do this simple change, and we wanted to figure out why he didn't do it. Well, it turns out that the Liberal government met with the pharmaceutical lobbyists and the insurance lobbyists over 875 times. So it's not coincidence that he chose to protect the profits of the pharmaceutical and lobbyists and the insurance lobbyists rather than help out families. He chose, this was a choice, a clear choice to help out those powerful at the very top, and it hurt families. It hurt you. It hurt people.
Mr. Singh,
Yeah.
I'm an addict in recovery and I'm sober. What are you going to do about the opiate crisis?
We're gonna first of all I'm so sorry, first of all, for the struggles you're going through. We would immediately declare a public health emergency. There's no way. There's no way if thousands of Canadians are dying due to an outbreak of a virus or an infection that there wouldn't be an immediate response. On top of that, what we need to do is make sure that people who are living with struggles, whether it's addiction, mental health, poverty, are not treated as criminals. They're responded to with health care, with rehabilitation, with love. So, you know, we know that Mr. Trudeau has chosen. He's chosen pharmaceutical companies. He's chosen big telecom. We pay some of the highest cell phone and internet prices in the world. He's chosen them. Yeah. You know, he talked about protecting the environment, and instead of, hold on one second, brother. He talked about protecting the environment, and instead of protecting the environment, the Liberal government met with the big oil and gas lobbyists 1,500 times, and they bought a pipeline. They continue to subsidize the oil and gas sector with billions of our public dollars, and they've exempted the biggest polluters from paying their fair share when it comes to the price of pollution. So it's really clear that the Liberals and Mr. Trudeau have chosen those at the very top. So they're not going to make things better for families. And we know that Conservatives, I don't know if I need to make this argument here, Conservatives aren't going to make things any better. Conservatives have made it clear that their plan is to cut services. Their plan is to cut the services that families depend on. They're certainly going to talk about cutting taxes, and they probably will, for the wealthiest and those at the very top. But we know what Conservatives do. They're going to cut taxes for the richest, but what else do they cut? They cut services, they cut health care. And you know what? It ends up costing families a lot more. So I want you to make sure you get out there and tell your friends that, folks who are considering Conservative, let them know that sure, they might promise you a couple of dollars in your pocket, but what they're going to do is they're going to cut all the services that you need and your family needs, and it's going to cost you a lot more in the long run. Right? Yeah. 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 So we know that Liberals are going to continue with the status quo. We know that the Conservatives are going to cut services. And I'll just put this out there. I've made it clear, because of the stance that Conservatives have taken on, well, Mr. Scheer personally has said that he doesn't believe in a woman's right to choose. And for me, there's no question the choice between getting an abortion is a decision between a person and their healthcare worker and their healthcare provider, and that is something that is non-negotiable. That is a... He hasn't attended and supported the LGBTQ community because it's clear that he doesn't... Yes, yes. Yes. So, oh, sorry. Yes, of course. Yes, we will support you. Yes, of course. Of course. Yes. And of course. And we want to make it clear that because of those reasons, I've made it clear that I would not work in any way with the Conservatives. And that's why... That's why I was a little disappointed to hear when Ms. May said that she was still open to working with Mr. Scheer and the Conservatives, given their track record of cutting services and given their position on these fundamental values. I was a little concerned about that. So, okay, wait a second. So the Conservatives are not the choice. The Liberals are not the choice. Who's going to stand up for people then? Who's going to... My friends, in this election, you do not have to choose Liberal. You do not have to choose Conservative. They don't own your vote. You can choose to vote for something. You can vote for hope. You can vote New Democrats. Nah. Thank you. That was beautiful. So friends, I want to say something to you clearly, and I want to say this directly to all Canadians listening. In this election, New Democrats and we are running to form the next government. I'm running to be your Prime Minister. Because I want to make your life better. I want to choose working for people over the powerful corporations, and that's why we want to form government. But this election isn't about me. It's not about me winning. No matter what happens in this election, I want to make sure one thing is clear. No matter what Canadians choose on October 21st, just a couple days from now, no matter what they choose, I want to make sure that no matter what, that Canadians win. I want to make sure that you win. I want to make sure that all of you win, and that's why we put forward a number of our priorities, things that we're going to work for, things that we're going to fight for. So imbuing everything we do is a honest work towards true reconciliation. That means clean drinking water, that means quality housing, that means equal access to education and child welfare. It means respect, and it means dignity, and that's what we're committing to. We're also committing to making people's lives better directly by investing in healthcare, so that if you need medication in our country, if you or your loved one needs medication, if you vote in enough New Democrats, we'll form government. But no matter what, if you vote in enough New Democrats, we'll make sure that if you go to get medication in this country, you should use your health card, not your credit card. We've got a plan. New Democrats are going to fight hard to make sure that the millions of Canadians that don't have access to dental care services, we're going to deliver a national dental care program that's going to cover 4.3 million Canadians immediately. For young people that are crushed under student debt, there's a lot that we need to do. But there's one thing that we can do right away. We looked at the past 4 years under Mr. Trudeau's government and found that the Liberal government profited off the backs of students in debt to the tune of $3 billion. It gets worse. It gets worse. Last year alone, Mr. Trudeau's government forgave $6 billion in corporate loans. Remember when I was talking about choices? These are choices. These are choices that governments are making. This is a choice that Mr. Trudeau made. He chose to forgive $6 billion in loans to the wealthiest corporations. He gave them back. He said, okay, don't worry, don't pay me back. But to students living in debt, he said, okay, pay up. Off the back of your debt, I'm going to get $3 billion. So if you vote enough New Democrats in, what we're going to do right away is we're going to immediately waive all interest on federal student loans right away. We're also going to do something that conservatives and liberals aren't willing to do. We're going to take on, your cell phone bills that are so high. And when you go over a little bit, you go over a gig and then you get charged like $50 on top of your normal bill. Well, what we're going to do is this. We've seen on this front as well that liberals have met with a big telecom lobbyist over 550 times in the past 4 years. What we're going to do is this. We're going to make sure that Canadians are no longer exploited. We're going to end the exploitation by capping the price that cell phone companies can charge you. And we're going to make sure there's truly unlimited data plans for all. That's truly unlimited data plans. On top of that, we're going to do something that conservatives and liberals are not willing to do. They've continued to choose the big and powerful oil and gas lobbyists and the oil and gas sector over young people and their future. What we're going to do is this. With the new Democratic government, with New Democrats fighting for you, we're going to immediately end all oil and gas subsidies. We're going to reinvest that money into clean energy and renewable energy. We're going to make sure that the biggest polluters pay their fair share. We're going to let young people know they can count on us to fight for them all the way. And to pay for these important programs, we're going to do something, again, that liberals and conservatives are not willing to do. We're going to pay for these programs by asking the very wealthiest Canadians to finally start paying their fair share. What we're going to put in place is a super wealth tax on the richest Canadians, and we're going to raise $70 billion with this new super wealth tax. Yep, we're on it. Dans cette élection, mes amis, vous avez un choix. On a des libéraux qui ont brisé des promesses, qui ont en fait choisi d'aider les plus riches au lieu des familles. Et c'est vrai. Et on a des conservateurs qui vont couper les services dont vous avez besoin. Donc, ce qu'on veut montrer, si vous voulez quelqu'un qui se bat pour vous, si vous voulez des néo-démocrates qui vont présenter des options progressistes pour vous, c'est nous, les néo-démocrates, qui vont livrer la marchandise. On va se battre pour vous pour s'assurer que la vie est plus abordable. On va faire face à la crise climatique et on va s'assurer que les plus riches paient leur juste part. My friends, in this election, I want to put this question to you. I believe this election is about who's in it for you. I believe this election is about who's fighting for you. And I believe that it's really clear who the Liberals have chosen to work for. They fought for and worked for those at the very top and made their life easier, and it's hurt families. And the Conservatives do the same thing. They work for those at the very top. They've chosen the powerful, wealthy, mega corporations over your families and you. Well, I don't work for them. While the Liberals and the Conservatives have chosen the wealthy and powerful corporations, I choose you. All of you. So let's get out there and win this election. Let's get out there and do this. Let's make it happen. Are you ready for the road? Are you ready? Are you ready? We're gonna jump one more time. When that chorus hits, we're gonna jump again. Are you ready? You gonna jump? Get warmed up. Get loose. You getting ready? I want you to jump high. I want to feel the whole floor shake. I want you to stomp your feet. Stomp your feet to the rhythm here. Let's hear that thunder. Are you ready for this jump? It's gonna be a big jump here. Get loosed up, get ready. Get ready. All right, here it goes. Yes, I see you up there. Thank you so much. The people in the balconies. The people in the backstage right here. The people in the crowd. All the young people. We're here for you. We're in it for you. We choose you. We choose you. We choose you.